Good afternoon, students. Welcome you to the Success at Sea exam session organized by the Board of Studies for final paper 4 Direct Tax Laws and International Taxation. Today, I will be here as your mentor, CA Aparna Chauhan, who will be guiding you, who will be discussing you how to face the CA exams, and we will be revising some of the concepts by way of taking some case scenarios. Before that, I would like to announce one thing which is quite interesting for all of you that the ICAI BoS is going to organize a program that is on 25th of April from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Which will be there will be leaders of the profession, president sir, vice president sir, chairman BoS, vice chairman BoS, who will be connecting you for how to face the CA exams. They will be guiding you. That is the topic for the session is Charcha ka Vishay CA Pariksha. So as you are going to face the CA exams and other students also, so you please join that program. Let's have a look of the video before beginning the session for this final paper 4. So you all please join that session. It will help you to motivate. It will, guide you how to face this examination, which you are going to appear soon. And definitely the torch bearers of the institute are there who will be directly in connecting with you. So let's start with our session. It's in, this is the second part of the session. That is once we already have met with all of you and regarding that success CA exams. But first, initially we have discussed what are the relevant amendments, what are the relevant publications, what are the section wise weightages for the subject, and would be the paper pattern, and what type of query questions would be what is the assessment pattern. So please, ma'am, share your amendment PPT shown in the last class. Okay, definitely I will share that PPT with all of you on our BoS app. I will be sharing that PPT. And today, what I have planned, let's just immediately just brush up what we have discussed in the last class so that you will again be familiarized with what are the section weightages and all. See, the direct tax laws, please, first important thing for May 25 examination, please ignore the Finance Act 2025. This is not at all relevant for May 25 examination, September 25 examination, and January 26 examination. This Finance Act 2025 is not relevant for you. It's Finance number 2 Act 2024 is relevant. That is assessment year 25-26. Okay, this is very, very important because you keep on watching the on papers. There are certain slab rates, changes, and everything. So ignore those things. That these are not relevant for your examination. Apart from that, the start update regarding the May 25, since you have noticed that 6 months is the cutoff date for your examination. So as of now, all the amendments, whatever will be the significant notifications, circulars which are being issued up to 31st of October 2024 are already given in your study material. So you please refer the study material for this. So there would be no separate start update is being issued for May 25 examination. For the next coming examination, we will be come out with a start update. But for this paper, one thing that is judicial update that I have already shown in the last session also, that there is a judicial updates which is there for May 25 examination. Please download that judicial update for the purpose of your May 25 exams, right? And apart from this is about the BoS publications. May you already aware that study material is one of the most important thing. You please refer from do a study from the latest study material only, which is relevant for the particular examination. Okay, and the start update for May 25, as of now there is no start update. Judicial update, of course, start update ke one important thing is start update separately we have not issued the start update, but we have covered the start update, some notification, few notification, one notification and one circular which is being covered in your RTP, that is given in your RTP. only by way of startup. The separate publication is not being issued for May 25 examination. Please refer that RTP where we have covered the notification and circular, which is which is with respect to the IFS. Okay, then it's judicial update. You please refer the judicial update, download it from the website. RTP, definitely please go through the RTP. I think now you all have gone through the RTP. In last time, I found that you people have not gone through the RTP. You have noticed that in RTP we have covered, main emphasis of the RTP is to provide you the amendment based questions basically, right? So it covers basically what are the amendments based, new provisions based questions. So please go through that RTP and understand what are the implication, how to implement, how to apply the provisions which are being amended, right? Amendment provisions based. So please go through the RTP. Initially also I already informed you, please do not read the questions. Please try to solve RTP. Where RTP is one thing, the mock test paper is one thing. Please solve it. Now it's your revision time, and it's very, very necessary for you that you solve the questions on yourself, right? And then compare your answers. Then only you will get to know what is your level of preparation for the examination, right? So please do the MTP mock test papers and do solve the mock test paper taking the in the examination condition. Like for example, you one mock test paper is based on the what is the regular pattern of the exam. So you do solve in the examination condition, take 3 hours time and 15 minutes time reading time for descriptive questions. Be selective, choose the questions which you want to do the first, and there is an option also. There would be 6 questions. First question would be compulsory question. Apart from that, and the other 5 questions you have to attempt in total. So 4 questions you have to attempt from the 5. You have to select that, right? Initially you make that selection while reading, during that reading time of 15 minutes, right? You do select that questions, accordingly you proceed to solve the question. It's not necessary that you have to solve the compulsory question first. It's not necessary at all. And again, it's not necessary that you do the descriptive portion first. You can take up whatever you feel you are comfortable, you want to proceed with the case scenario based question first, then you please do that. But be extra careful while doing the case scenarios, because in option questions definitely there would be no negative marking. You are not required to write any reasoning, you need not to substantiate the MCQs with the reasonings. But what is important, that you have to read the facts of the case scenarios and read the requirements of question carefully, so that because the options may be quite related or maybe quite similar, in case there will be a possibility, probability is more that in case if you have chosen wrong answer, then you would not be fetching any marks. So it's very, very necessary. Do read the requirement of the case scenario and read the requirement of the question very carefully, and be very extra careful while selecting the correct option, and marking the same in your OMR sheet, right? So whatever, it's your choice, is up to you, that whichever you feel ki you are taking first, then you can take the case scenario based MCQ paper first, and then you can proceed with the descriptive portion. But definitely time management is again very, very important for you. For that purpose, I am telling you, do solve the MTP in the examination condition, because time management, I feel ki students are not able to manage the time during the examination. That will only the proceeding with the mock test papers in the examination condition will help you out to manage the times actually. Because what is happening, the provisions. I have noticed certain students came here and just says ki ma'am, I know the provisions, I know everything, but I don't know why I'm not getting the marks. Basically the problem is that you have to you have to present also. If you know the things, then you have to present it, right? You have to write it, because one-to-one interaction is not there going to happen with the examinee and the examiner, right? So it's necessary that you present the question in the better way, right? What you have to do in the 30% marks is your case scenario based MCQ based paper. There you need not to write any kind of reasonings. But for the descriptive question, your presentation matters a lot. You require to write the relevant provision in your answer sheets, right? It's very necessary. Otherwise, what is happening in the first question? It's in compulsory question. What is it's in computation based. Definitely, you have to arrive at the tax liability. You have to compute the total income. But how you are arriving it? What are the adjustments you are making? And what are the provisions you are applying? What are the case laws you are applying by arriving at a particular conclusion for the purpose of determining the total income and the tax liability? You have to mention in your answer sheet, right? Clearly you mention it your answer sheet. You have to substantiate the things with the correct relevant provisions. You know, it's not necessary you are writing a long answer. It's not at all required, but you have to be very to the point, be very specific as per the requirement of the question. And what you can do to bring to the notice of the examiner, what you can do, you can just underline with the pen you are writing, you can underline the important crucial key pointers in your answer sheets, so that immediately he will come to know, yes, this student knows it and he is mentioning it, right? So in that way, you please proceed to answer your questions in the examination times. So descriptive question mein one thing, see in the descriptive question, what is happening there is would be step marks are there. Step marks are there. So in case if you are not able to arrive at the final total income of the tax liability, then also you would able to fetch some marks by way of proceeding the correct adjustments or substantiating your answer with the proper reasoning. Then definitely you will fetch the marks. As I informed you earlier also that while for example if the total income exceeds the 1 crore limit, right, and the surcharge in that case will become applicable, right? So what you have to do, you have to write the rate of the surcharge which is applicable. For example, there is a question of 115 BAA or BAB, right? So here the surcharge, irrespective of your total income, surcharge is levied at the rate of 10%. You please mention in your answer surcharge at the rate 10%. You have to write, then calculate. It may be possible your total income, you are not arriving the correct total income due to some of the adjustment have gone wrong, but you will fetch the marks for the surcharge, which is there for 10%, half mark, or whatever the marks are being allocated for it, you will get that marks, right? Then you mention the HEC. In that way, you have to proceed. For example, rebate wala question is there. One of the important portion in the non-resident taxation is the DTA. One or the other portion will be there on the rebate relief under section 91 or relief under section 90A. In case of DTA, it's 90A, or in case of your not having a DTA, then 91. So here also it's very necessary. What happens ki you have to calculate the average rate of tax. You have to then compare the lower of the foreign tax rate and the lower of the average rate of tax. Then you will arrive at the relief under section 91 in that way. So you have to show it. You do not just write the computational things only. Do not write the numerical portion. You have to write the exact provisions you are applying it, right? In that way, you have to solve and proceed to the descriptive questions. Of course, in case scenario based, this is one plus point. You need not to write anything, but you have to be very extra careful because in descriptive, you will fetch some marks by way of step marking, but in MCQ based, you will fetch marks only your option is correct then. So one thing, and another proportion relating to your descriptive portion, which I am mentioning, कि आपका जो optional वाला choice है, mainly students what they are doing, they are not writing the question numbers also in their answer sheets, which I have observed. People come here and they show their answer sheets. It's really very surprising that see, if you are answering particular question, suppose you have started with your second question, right? There are three parts in the second question, A, B, and C. So please solve all the parts in continuation. Do not break into that and do not bring the third question in between. Please do solve the two C liya aapne or two B liya aapne, whatever question you are picking up, you please do it in continuation. Do not in between start writing the another questions answers, right? And be very clearly mention what it is. It is question number 2A, 2B, 2C, whatever it is. You please mention it properly in your answer sheet. In case if you are not knowing the answer of particular part, what you can do, you just leave the space, and when you have finished with your the other parts, then you can come again and then again you solve it, right? In that way you can do the all the parts in continuation and together. This is one thing. Another important thing is the time management, how you are going to manage the time. Suppose 30% is your case scenario based question, right? 30% is your case scenario based question. and then 70% is descriptive question. So it's you are getting 180 minutes, 3 hours paper, 180 minutes is there, so 30% आपको do, 54 minutes are there. But I think you should not spend 54 minutes in the on the this 30% pace, because here you are not going to write anything. But in 70% you have to understand the requirements of question, you have to write also, you have to substantiate the provision. So आप क्या करो, you take 40 minutes, not more than that. You try to take 35 to 40 minutes for the case scenario based question, and then you have to attend 5 questions, right? You have to attend 5 questions. Then what you can do, first question definitely compulsory, but all other questions are also 14 marks each only. So 5 questions, 14 marks each, everything. So how much you can give the other questions? आपके पास आपने 45 minutes you have given here, right? Then again you will be having 180 minutes में से आपने क्या किया, 45 minutes you spend there, 135 minutes are remaining with you. Now you have to do 5 questions. So 27 minutes आ रहा है आपका. First question might take more time. So try to manage it between, आपने 30-45 minutes आपने लिया वहां पर टाइम, या 40 minutes का टाइम आप रखो, ठीक है? जिससे आप क्या करो, when you have finished your question, again come and check the options what you are selecting and marking in your OMR sheet. वो जरूर कर लेना. इवन आपने if you are not able to complete the descriptive portion का आपका एक पार्ट या रह जाता है, you please leave that. अगर आपको बहुत अच्छे से आता है तो कर लो. I am not saying you please leave that. I am saying कि again check it, the options which you have been marked in your OMR sheet. वहां पे possibility है कि by mistake you are in some pressure and you are writing the paper. So it would be better for you. You please check it again, once again, come to the case scenario based question and check the options which you have marked in the OMR sheet. So 40 to 45 minutes in that way, and 20 to 25 minutes for each of the questions you try to manage. Right? In that way, you can solve the MTP. MTPs, I'm telling you, please do solve the MTPs so that you will be able to manage your time during the examination. So rest of the things की first question आपको the first question would be 14 marks का आएगा, और first question आपका basically it is based on the first section of your there are 3 sections overall, as per the section wise weightages. Overall there are 3 sections for this paper. First is your substantive law, substantive provisions of the law, and then procedural law, and then the international taxation, right? In that way, the first question is basically compulsory question which just test your evaluation and synthesis skills. Means you have to integrate the provisions together, and then understand the you have to apply the rulings also, judicial rulings also, to decide a particular transaction or to decide a particular adjustments. In that way that question would be there. It may be testing you the provisions of 115 BA, BAB may be tested. So please learn those provisions. 115 BA and BAB are very, very important provisions. Please learn those provisions. What are the exemptions are available under BAA and BAB? What are the deductions are not allowed, which are not allowed under the BAB and BAA? What are the rates of taxes? Because different rates of taxes are levied in respect of manufacturing industries, only 22% rates. And then your surcharge is very fixed to the 10%. You have to keep in mind surcharge is also applicable. MAT is not applicable when you are paying tax under section 115 BA and BAB. But they might ask you to optimize the tax liability. In that case, you have to compute the tax liability as per the normal provisions also, as per the concession tax regimes also. And when you are doing the normal provision, suppose if the question have specifically mentioned the amount of book profits or something, then you proceed to solve the questions by applying comparing the normal provisions along with the MAT liability. And then whatever be the final outcome of the whether you are paying as per the MAT liability or as per the normal provision, that you have to compare with the 115 BA or BAB. Right? In that way, you have to proceed that answer. First question, first section se hoga, and from the first section, there may be another questions also possible based on question number 2 or question number 3. In that way, then the international taxation. Generally, what happens during the as of now, ki the second part of the question from 2nd to 6th are based on the international taxation basically, and the first part is from the direct tax laws. In that way, the questions are being at presently are there. So what you have to do, the second question may also be from the first section. First section may there are 2 subsections. There are 2 subsections. So you can just keep in mind, you have to now make the strategy how to revise the things. First section is a very huge section. In that section, there is a subsections also. The first subsection is for 20 to 23% marks. And then the second section, Then your second section will be on 22% marks, something like that, 22% marks. So in this, if you see, there are only 3 chapters and having a huge weightage, right? Assessment of charitable trust, your special entities like REITs, investment funds, securitization trust, then your tax planning, tax avoidance, tax evasion, and then your taxation of digital transactions. These three topics and having a huge weightage of 22-24 marks. So 20% to 22% marks. So इनको please do it properly. Go through thoroughly. और बहुत difficult questions do not come from these 3 topics basically. आप देखो charitable trust में it revolves around like corpus fund से relation में और registration के relation में और in relation to your what we can say borrowings, loans and borrowings, repayment of the loans and borrowings, application part. So basically, generally, all the accredited income may be asked during this time. It is possible. It is possible. Please revise that accredited income wala portion also. It's not that difficult. Then the tax planning in GAR may be possible. There's a possibility of GAR also. Please go through the whatever the questions given in the study material relating to tax planning, relating to your GAR, all those things. Then taxation of digital transaction, again equalization levy and the VDA. Only do 2% equalization levy is not relevant for you. Only 6% is relevant. Now the Finance Act 2025 have abolished the 6% also, but as for your exam, still it is relevant for you for the exams, right? So learn those things, and you can fetch. The question can be asked in the form of descriptive questions. The questions can be asked in the form of case scenario based question, and the preparation strategy and the revision strategy for both the patterns would be same. Either it's if even if it's in form of descriptive or in the form of your MCQ based, the preparation strategy and the revision strategy are same, but the presentation is going to be different for both the parts, right? So I'm telling you these 3 chapters, please do revised properly, thoroughly. And today also I have a case scenario based on the reads and tax planning also there, VDA is also there. So we are going to revise those provisions today. Then the procedural law, again the procedural law may, if you see, the deductions, collections, recovery of tax is one of the very important topic in this section, and इसमें से आपका 8 marks or more than 8 marks can be asked. So please do revise that deductions. इस बार specifically be very extra careful, because for certain provisions rates are being reduced with effect from 1st October 2024. Right? So the rates are being reduced for certain sections. Do revise those sections. Do again revise the rates. What are the rates applicable for the TDS provisions? ठीक है, बहुत अच्छे से करके जाना है इसको. It's very important. What are the relevant case laws? Very frequently asked case laws can be asked from the reduction chapter. And then your assessment procedure. Assessment procedure is again a very important chapter. You please do revise that assessment procedure. Tax audit. Whatever will be the case studies, whatever be the questions are given in your tax audit chapter, do revise that tax audit chapter also. Okay. Then appeals revisions, definitely you can do. Miscellaneous provision, I generally found that miscellaneous provisions say one or the other questions they ask either in the form of case scenarios, either in the form of MCQs, or in the form of descriptive questions. To do revise that miscellaneous provision as well. ठीक है, बहुत मतलब you can have a good hold over the provision. Definitely I'm not saying you just leave that, but definitely you can have a good hold over the certain things so that you can fetch a good marks, right? आपको you have a confident also कि this I have a strong understanding, strong knowledge of these provisions, so I can definitely score this marks in for sure. Likewise, for if you say international taxation having a huge weightage of 30 to 35%, आप कहीं से भी start कर लो अपना revision. अभी आपका you are at on 23rd of April and May you are going to face the exams. So आप इस तरीके से देखो कि मेरा ये सेक्शन 3rd का इतना पोर्शन हो गया. सेक्शन 3rd में if I say you, then non-resident taxation, DTA is again very important. Whatever be the questions given in your study material, whatever be the question given your MTP booklet. US has issued a MTP booklet also. Identify those questions, solve those questions, whatever be the given in your RTP. आपने कर ही लिया होगा. Go through those highlighted points again. ठीक है, एग्जाम से पहले before the examination, whatever questions you have solved and you have marked in there, so please Again visit those highlighted portion, again revise those things. Okay, DTA is again very important. Bar ka question aa jata, board for advanced reading, they ask something. And the last three topics, last four topics, there are last four topics from BEPS, from interpretations, from model text conventions, and latest developments in international taxation. Those things, knowledge based questions would be asked. So go through those things also. आपने पढ़ा होगा तो आपको याद आ जाएगा definitely. Just revise it once, given in your this thing, or you can refer the saransh also, because there are no such amendments in the saransh, so you can refer those things for these chapters. And definitely while referring the saransh, because it's not being updated as of now, so please, if you are referring it, do remember what are the amendments there in the that portion, right? In that way, you are going to take up the topics and do revise the things accordingly. Now, in case if you have any query, we can have a discussion on your queries. Students, if you want to ask something, Divya, Anshul, Prashant, Sunil, you can just ask me in case if anything you want to ask regarding your examination. Prashant, you want to ask? Yeah, Prashant. Hello. Prashant, you are unmuted. You can ask me a query. Hello. Yes, Prashant, please raise your query. Ask your query. You are now unmuted. Or you can write through the chat if you are not able to speak. Your audio is not. You please write through the chat. Anshul, you would. 194 IB you want to see? 194 IB, there is an amendment. Rate to text. See, if actually क्या है ना 194 IB में it's relating to, I think it's 194 IB is with respect to your rental income for the individuals and all. So वहाँ पे what is happening, आपका at the end में you are supposed to deduct the tax, right? You are at the end of the period, or your vacancy, whichever is later, vacancy date or 31st of March, whichever is later. So if you're vacating the property after 31st of October, then definitely at the reduced rate you have to take up. And at the end also 31st March, whole amount. It's not ki before 31st March, before 31st this 1st October, if it's before 1st October, in that case, it's not like that you will deduct at the higher rate. You will deduct at the end of the financial year, that is 31st March, or at the time of vacancy, whichever is earlier. So if vacancy is falling after this 1st of October, then you deduct at the reduced rate, 2% rate, at the reduced rate. If it's falling before 1st October, then you will do at the higher rate. Yes, only 2% if it is after 1st October. Yes. So now I think we can take up MTP questions. I would like you to please be interactive, and I'm going to ask you people. It's not only relating to the MCQ, whatever being given in your MTP. I have taken MTP 2, series 2 today, so that we can revise the things. Section numbers. Rajan La is asking, do we know write section number? See, writing section number definitely add value to your answers, right? If a student is writing a correct section numbers, definitely examiner have a good impression, and जहाँ पे वो 1 या 2 marks देना चाहता है तो वहाँ पे वो 2.5 भी देगा, right? It add value to your answer, but it is not necessary. Definitely no step marks are given for the section numbers, but definitely certain things are very important key which can be answered if you relate with the section numbers, right? Do not write the provisos, do not write the explanations. If you are not remembering, then do not write the wrong section numbers. Ignore writing the wrong section numbers. But definitely, if you are remembering the section numbers, you please write the correct section numbers, right? For example, if you are talking about the deductions and chapter 6A, if you're talking about the TDS provisions, these provisions are very difficult, without section numbers, it's very difficult to explain those provisions. So it would be better if you write the correct section numbers. I'm again telling you, do not write the wrong section numbers. If you are remembering, then only you please write it, right? Okay, now I think I can share you the case scenarios. We can proceed with the case scenario. Give me a thumbs up. Should we proceed with the case scenario? Do my file is visible? Yeah, amendment PPT I will share, Poonam. For the amendments now, let me just show you. Let me to take you through the this portion also. Of amendments ke liye you are do not worry for the amendments. I will tell you just a minute. I will take you to the ICAI website only, and there I will show you. I will share that PPT for you because इसमें ऐसा नहीं है इसमें बहुत amendments I have not covered. One thing I would like to tell you कि आप कहाँ से you can have a glance of the amendments, but strictly speaking, if I say, then for the understanding you have to refer to the detailed one which is given in your study material by way of bold and italics we have given in your study material. If you go and see our website, there in the study material, you go to the direct tax laws paper. There, initial pages, if you go now, then see, overview of selected key amendments made by the Finance Number 2 Act 2024 are given in your study material in the initial pages. ठीक है? यहाँ से, if you see, we have covered in brief the related relevant amendments. So please do refer this for the purpose of your amendment revision. But detailed understandingly, I am again telling you, you please visit the chapters for the particular section. ठीक है? This you may refer. Okay. Now, let's take this case scenario. This case scenario involves the provisions of REITs. This case scenario involves the tax planning, tax evasion, and tax avoidance concept. This involves the provisions of your BDA, right? This is based on, there are 3 questions which are being given. Definitely the facts are more given in addition, which are not required you to answer the MCQs, but they are in given here. So for that purpose, what I can advise you, you just go through the case scenario fatafat se in at the one read, just give a one reading to the case scenario and then proceed for the MCQs. Do not try to frame the questions while reading the case scenario. What you can do, because it's not necessary, whatever the information is given, it's not necessary the questions are being framed on all the information of the case scenario. So it would be better to read the MCQs, then relate the information with the facts given in the case scenario, right? In that way. So let me read. This is from your MTP case series 2, this case scenario, and it involves REITs. So I would like to just let's revise the provisions of REITs and all those things. Let's take this. So यहाँ पे Anantam Highway Trust is there, which is a business trust, and it is registered under the SEBI regulations 2014, and it has generated interest income of 10 lakh rupees, dividend income of 5 lakh from G Limited during the previous year for 24-25. It also realized short-term capital gains of 4 lakhs from the sale of listed shares of Indian companies with STT paid both at the time of purchase and sale. Okay, G Limited is a SPV, Special Purpose Vehicle Entity. So G Limited is an Indian company in which business trust hold 100% of the shareholding, and G Limited does not opt to pay tax under section 115 BAA. My screen is visible to all of you. In case you want me to increase the font size, that I can do. So here another information is given regarding that business trust, that it had accumulated the entire income except interest income which is distributed to its unit holders in March 2025. Mr. Xavier, a resident unit holder, owns 100 units while Mr. Yatin, a non-resident unit holder, holds 500 units. The total number of units are given at 5,000, and Mr. Yatin, the non-resident holder, is the managing director of XYZ Private Limited, has been provided with an air conditioner worth 75,000 at his residence in Delhi as part of his employment terms. However, the company has recorded this asset in its books of account as if it were installed in the quality control section of its factory with the intention of classifying it as plant and claiming depreciation accordingly. Okay, so then Mr. Xavier is engaged in cryptocurrency trading. During the financial year, he transferred cryptocurrencies for rupee 4,20,000. The cost of acquisition for these cryptocurrencies was 70,000. In addition, he took a loan to invest in cryptocurrencies and incurred an interest expenses of 20,000 on this loan. So here the certain informations are given regarding the REIT, then the Mr. Yatin XYZ Private Limited, and then the Xavier. From that, there are three questions are given based on these facts. And first question is very quite easy that I can immediately ask you and you people can answer me. Right. In respect of the component of interest income from Z Limited distributed by Anantam Highways Trust to unit holders Xavier and Yatin, what would happen? No tax is deductible by Anantam Highways Trust since such income is not taxable in the hands of unit holders. Tax is deductible at the rate 5% on 20,000 distributed to Mr. Xavier and 5.2% on 1 lakh distributed to Mr. Yatin. Then C option, tax is deductible at the rate 10% on 20,000 distributed to Mr. Xavier and 5.2% on rupee 1 lakh distributed to Yatin. Tax is deductible at the rate 10% on 20,000 distributed to Mr. Xavier and 10.4% on rupee 1 lakh. So what is the residential status of Xavier and the Yatin? Because they are going to make an change, answer will be different for both resident and the non-resident. So who is a resident? You have to again go and see the case scenario. What it is saying, Mr. Xavier is a resident. Okay, Mr. Xavier is a resident and Mr. Yatin is a non-resident. You know what is the provisions of the REITs basically? The provisions of the REITs, I think you all must be remembering. Should I ask this question before explaining you, or let's understand and revise the provisions? Would you like to answer this question? Question number 1. What would be the correct option with respect to the interest distributed by a business trust to resident unit holders and to non-resident unit holders? What are the provisions with respect to tax deduction at source? What answers would be there? A, B, C, D. Which is the correct answer? I'm waiting for your answers. You can write through the chat box or you can write on this query portal also. Which is the correct answer? Prashant, Sunil, you people can answer me. Prashant, D. Why? Any other answers? Sunil, Divya, Poonam, Rajnala. In respect of interest distributed to the unit holders. Okay? One of the unit holder is a resident and another unit holder is a non-resident. What are the tax deduction obligations on the REIT? I think let's revise it once. The provisions of REITs, you are knowing that 115 UA, section 115 UA talks about the scheme for taxation of REITs, right? Chapter 12 FA. It says, you know, that REITs are having a pass-through status. Pass-through status means that the income would not be taxable in the hands of business REITs. Whatever the income of the trust, they are being passed through to the unit holders and they would be taxable in the hands of unit holders. So the pass-through status is with the REIT, right? And that pass-through status is being given in respect of interest, dividend, rental income. Okay, to the REIT. Interest, dividend, rental income. Okay, for these incomes, these income would be exempt in the hands of the REIT and would be taxable in the hands of the unit holders. Okay, and the income which are taxable in the hands of the unit holders on which REIT is required to deduct tax when they are distributing that income to the unit holders. Okay, this is one thing. So I am telling you pass-through status is with their respect to interest, dividend, rental income from directly owned real estate assets distributed to unit holders. Another important thing they have included is 115 UA 3A. This is a last year's amendment and it is very, very important for you. Why I'm saying you? Because it's saying apart from this interest, apart from this your dividend and your rental income, if REITs pays money or distributed income in any form to the unit holders, that income would also be chargeable to tax in the hands of unit holders under the head income from income from other sources under section 56 to 12 basically under section 56 to 12, that income would be chargeable to tax in the hands of unit holders as income from other sources. Okay? This is very important amendment which is made by last year. It's not this year's amendment, but this is very important. For understanding the implication for this amendment, what I can ask you, you please refer the RTP November 24, in which question number 16 is there, which is testing the this amendment basically that you can attempt it because there are no other change in this read provisions and all those things. So that question please you attempt and do solve it to have an understanding how the you will apply the provisions of 115 UA 3A and 56 to 12. ठीक है? So the pass through status यहाँ पे क्या बोला? In respect to whatever be the income, इसमें यही बोला है कि whatever be the income which is chargeable, which would यहाँ पे what it's saying 115 UA 1 provides that any income distributed by a business trust to its unit holders shall be deemed to be the same nature, shall be deemed to be the same nature as shall be deemed to be the same nature and in the same property in the hands of unit as it is being received or accrued by business trust. So in the way, if a trust is receiving as an interest, it would be charged as interest in the hands of the unit holders. Dividend would be charged as dividend in the hands of unit holders. Then your rental income from the real estate owned directly by the directly owned by the REIT would be chargeable as rental income. So for that pass-through status is there. It would not be taxable in the hands of the REITs. It would be taxable in the hands of the unit holders. Apart from that, in case if REIT is distributed anything, whatever be the way they are redeeming the units, they are repaying the loan or whatever form they are paying, so that income will also be chargeable to tax in the hands of the unit holders. That is provided in section 115 UA 3A. So any sum other than the following, any sum, मतलब ये तो pass through है ही, इनके लिए तो pass through status है ही. Other incomes like for example STCG, long term capital gains, STCG or any other mode of income, short term capital 111A हो, short term capital normal chargeable to normal tax. So everything is taxable in the hands of unit holders, right? So STCG is taxable if it is as per section 111A, then the provision 111A would be applicable. It would be taxable at the rate of 20% or 15% as the case may be. There is an amendment in 111A, that rate being enhanced from 15% to 20%, right, from 23rd of July. So you have to keep in mind that when the income is arising in the hands of the business trust, accordingly you have to apply the rate. Then long-term capital gains, if it is falling within 112 and then 112, then it would be taxable accordingly in the hands of the REITs. Other income apart from the special provisions income, everything would be taxable at MMR. Okay. So here they are mentioning any sum other than the following components of income, that is interest and dividend received from SPV and distributed to unit holders, rental income or income chargeable to tax in the hands of the business trust. So other than these incomes, other incomes are chargeable to tax in the hands of business trust. In सबको exclude करके, if anything the REIT is distributing to the unit holders, that would also be chargeable to tax in the hands of unit holders under the income from other sources. Okay, so dividend, right? This is about, it's not necessary, would not be deemed to be of the same nature. It cannot be of the same nature because REITs is having some other income and it's distributed to the unit holders, and apart from this interest, dividend, rental income, that would be chargeable to tax under section 56 to 12 in the hands of the unit holders. So exemption is given with respect to interest. Okay, for this pass through status is given. Remember, it's an important concept. Again, revise this: interest, dividend received from special purpose vehicle, and your rental income. Rental income, I am telling you. This is exempt in the hands of the REITs. अब dividend के लिए one important point which you can easily miss out is if SPV is opting to pay tax under section 115 BAA, ठीक है, then it would be taxable in the hands of the unit holders. Otherwise, it would not be. If it is not opting to pay tax under section 115 BAA, not BAB. Don't get confused with the BAA and BAB. यहाँ पे सिर्फ provision clearly बोल रहा है कि if SPB is opting to pay tax under section 115 BAA, then it would be taxable in the hands of unit holders. Otherwise, it would be exempt both in the hands of business trust as well as in the hands of unit holders. So look for this information in the facts of the question if question is asking you. In this case scenario which is before you is only restricted to the interest income. ठीक है, यहाँ पे डिविडेंड इनकम की बात ही नहीं करी अभी. सो डिविडेंड इनकम आया आपका, इंटरेस्ट इनकम में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. डिविडेंड इनकम के लिए यू हैव टू लुक फॉर द इंफॉर्मेशन वेदर द एसपीबी इज opting to pay tax under section 115 BAA or not opting to pay tax under section 115 BAA. BAB लिखा है तो it is will not be having any impact, right? But अगर opt कर रही है, if the company is opting to pay, then it would be taxable. Otherwise, it would not be taxable. ठीक, otherwise it would not be taxable. ठीक है. So अब when the things are being become taxable, then REIT is required to deduct tax on the distributed income. ठीक है, REIT is required to deduct tax on the distributed income. So accordingly, in your question, Prashant, you please listen it again. In case of interest is distributed to a non-resident, then it has to be deducted at the rate of 5%. Keep in mind, if the TDS is being deducted in respect of a unit holder which is a non-resident or any payee which is a non-resident, you have to see for surcharge and HEC. The HEC and surcharge लगेगा ही लगेगा. While in case of resident, there would be no surcharge, no HEC while deducting the TDS. But for this non-residents के case में, you have to look for the surcharge. The surcharge is applicable when the income exceeds a particular limit and HEC in every cases, right? So the rate of TDS is in respect of interest is 5% for unit holders being a non-resident of foreign company, or at the rate 10% in case of resident unit holders. It is 10% in case of resident unit holders. Okay. And with respect to dividend, if you see, याद कर लो, interest के लिए TDS rates are different, but in case of dividend, TDS rates are same, 10%, both in the case of non-resident as well as in the case of resident unit holders. ठीक है, remember it in case of dividend. But dividend में कब लगेगा? In case where SPP has not excised option under section 115 BA, no tax is required to be deducted. क्योंकि it is not taxable in the hands of the unit holder, so it's not required to deduct TDS when the SPP has not exercised. अगर exercise करेगी, then only. अगर बोलेंगे if the SPP is exercise option 115 BAB, then it would not be, even then it would not be taxable in the hands of unit holders. ठीक है, don't get confused. ठीक है, remember, note it again. If SPB is paying tax, because वहां पे क्या हो रहा है, SPP ने concession tax regime भी opt करी, जो dividend distribute करी है, then again it would be not be taxable nor in the hands of unit holders nor in the hands of business trust. So that government doesn't want to provide such huge benefits. So what they are saying, if you are paying tax under 15 BA, 15% का rate है, very huge lower rate is there, concession rate is there. So वहां पे if SPB is paying under section 115 BAA, then it would be taxable. Has not excised option, अगर उसने option excise नहीं किया, normal rates पर tax pay कर रही है, तो वहां पे कोई TDS deduct नहीं होना, because it would not be taxable in the hands of unit holders. ठीक है. So rate in case of dividend, same rate, 10% is there. ठीक है. Rental के लिए क्या है? Rental के लिए again rental के लिए different rates, because TDS in case of resident unit holders, it is 10%, and in case of non-resident, it is rates in force. Rates in force key, what will be the nature of the non-resident? It's individual or whatever. So it's maybe 30% basically. In case of if the unit holder is a individual and all, the rates in force के लिए specifically rental income it will fall at the rate of 30% plus cess and all. So rates in force are given in the Finance Act के schedules में दी होती है rates in force. There you have to see for the rates in force. ठीक है. So please remember these things in case of rental income, in case of your dividend income, and then your interest income. So accordingly, what would be the answer for the first question? It's an interest income which is distributed by a business trust. ठीक है. Business trust क्या कर रही है? Distribute कर रही है interest income. So what would be the answer? I got an answer from Leela, I think. She has answered correctly. So now Prashant, what would be the answer? Prashant, Poonam, why are you silent? Divya, क्या होगा आंसर इस केस में? REITs is distributing how much? 10 lakh. 10 lakh. 10 lakh का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कर रही है. रेजिडेंट होल्डर्स के कितने शेयर्स हैं? इट्स 100. 100 units are with the Mr. Xavier, I think. Yes, 100 units with the Xavier and 500 units with the non-resident Yatin. So 100 100 का क्या करोगे? 100 बाय ओवरऑल कितना है? 5000 यूनिट्स. तो इसके हैंड्स में कितना डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड होगा इसको? 20,000. उस पर व्हाट वुड बी द टीडीएस रेट? सी. यस, 10%. ठीक है. और जेवियर के केस में इट्स 1 लाख. 10 लाख इंटू 500 divided by 5,000. So it would be 1 lakh. How much would be the TDS rate? 5.2% because यहाँ पे सेस अप्लाई होगा. ठीक है. सो आई एम टेलिंग यू दिस इज एन इम्पोर्टेंट केस जहां पे आपका ग्रॉसिंग अप और नेटिंग नेट लिखा हुआ है. इन केस ऑफ नॉन रेजिडेंट कोई भी इनकम दी हुई है, वेदर इट वुड बी चार्जेबल टू टैक्स, आपको बोला टोटल इनकम, यू हैव टू कंपेयर द पर्सन इज रिसीव्ड सच इनकम इज द नेट अमाउंट, देन इंक्लूड HEC, इंक्लूड एटलीस्ट HEC टू डिटरमाइन द ग्रॉस अमाउंट. ठीक है. ग्रॉस अमाउंट डिटरमाइन करने के लिए कीप इन माइंड यू हैव टू इंक्लूड HEC एटलीस्ट. ठीक है. सो अकॉर्डिंगली द आंसर वुड बी C for the first question. Suppose, let me ask you another question with respect to the same, with respect to different facts. Suppose dividend income. If the dividend income generate करके 5 lakh distribute किया, if it's being distributed and what they are mentioning does not opt to pay, what would be the TDS rate in that case? If business trust, I'm just listen me carefully. If this Anantam business trust is distributing 5 lakh also to its unit holders, right? And the SPV Z Limited does not opt to pay tax under Section 115 BAA. So, in respect of this distributed income, dividend income, what would be the tax implication, TDS implications? 10, 10.4. Why? Why, Prashant? 10, 10, 10.4 आपने निकाल लिया, but you are not listening. You are G Limited does not opt to pay tax. Normal rates पे tax pay कर रही है या BAB में कर रही है, I don't know. But it's not paying tax under Section 115 BAA. No TDS. Yes, no TDS. See the information. ठीक है. आपके पास 4 ऑप्शंस दिए होंगे. आपको इसी के बेसिस पे डिविडेंड इनकम का कोई MCQ will be there. So in that case, there would be no income. ठीक है. So no TDS would be deductible since that income is not taxable in the hands of unit holders as well as in the hands of business trust. ठीक है. Accordingly, for example, short-term capital gains are there. ठीक है. Short-term capital gains. It would be taxable in the hands of business trust or the unit holders. The income arising in the form of short-term capital gains of ₹4 lakh from sale of listed shares on 31st of October. It would be taxable in the hands of unit holders or business trust. If it is taxable in the hands of unit holders, at what rate? If it is taxable in the hands of business trust, and then what rate it would be taxable? You please tell me. I'm waiting for your answers. Short-term capital gains. I have informed you. Business trust. Yes, Leela, very good. And it would be taxable at what rate? In the hands of business trust, it would be taxable. Yes. So it would be taxable at what rate? Yes, answer Poonam. You can answer. It would be taxable at what rate? Short-term capital gains will be taxable in the hands of REIT. Yes, Anantam Highway Trust के hands में होगा. At what rate it would be taxable? 20%. Yes. Why? Because the short-term capital gain is arising after 23rd of July 2024, right? So it would be taxable at the rate of 20% in the hands of business trust. Good. Very good. So this is with respect to REITs. I think we have revised the provisions of REITs, that pass-through status is in respect of interest, dividend, rental income. Specifically, keep in mind the dividend portion. And STCG under section 111A, long-term capital gain under section 112 would be taxable at the rates specified in those sections. And apart from the other incomes that are taxable in the hands of business trust at the MMR, and apart from this interest, dividend, rental income, if the trust is distributing any other income, that would also be taxable in the hands of unit holders. What is the manner of computation? That you have to refer to section 56 to 12. And for that purpose, I have informed you that you can practice question number 16 given in the RTP of November 24, which is uploaded on your website. Okay. Now the second post question. What is the second question? Let me read for you. Recording of the air conditioner provided by XYZ Private Limited to Mr. Yatin. Yatin is a non-resident, right? In his books of accounts to claim depreciation falls under tax planning, tax management, tax evasion and tax avoidance. आपको पता है क्या किया था कंपनी ने? What the company has done? कंपनी ने जो एयर कंडीशनर प्रोवाइड किया अपने डायरेक्टर को, whatever the air conditioner the company has provided to the director, they have shown it in the quality control section. If it were installed in the quality control section and classify it as a plant. What the company has done? Company has done the tax planning. Tax बचाया company ने. Or company has done tax evasion. What company has done? Yes, tax evasion. Why? Why tax evasion? अब यहाँ पे आपको आंसर में रीजनिंग नहीं लिखनी है, ठीक है? इस क्वेश्चन में आपको रीजनिंग नहीं लिखनी है, बट आपका अगर सेम क्वेश्चन डिस्क्रिप्टिव फॉर्म में आए, देन यू हैव टू राइट द रीजनिंग. व्हाट इज द रीजन व्हाई इट इज टैक्स इवेजन? You know the answer tax evasion and very easy to answer MCQ based question. आपको पता है कि थोड़ा सा हिंट लग गया, हाँ यार टैक्स इवेजन नहीं होगा because its company is installing and showing it as a plant, है ना? और वो वहां पे जाके इंस्टॉल होता सपोज at the home, because home में जाके they have provided the air conditioner as per the employment term. At his residence they have provided. So what is the reason why it is being treated as a tax evasion? Tax evasion has reduced plants by amount of depreciation. Yes, because what the company is doing basically misleading the facts. मिस रिपोर्टिंग, बेसिकली मिसलीड कर रही है ना फैक्ट्स को मोल्ड कर रही है। लगाया सिस्टम कहाँ पे है, एयर कंडीशनर दे हैव इंस्टॉल्ड एट द रेजिडेंस प्लेस, बट इट इज शोइंग इट एज प्लांट. So company is doing the misrepresentation of the facts, is it not? So it is falling within the tax evasion. Company is not doing tax planning. यहाँ पर tax planning नहीं हुई, company अपना tax बचाया, but by way of doing the misrepresentation of facts, basically, right? So this would come under tax evasion, misrepresentation हुआ आपका, fraudulent ways of saving the tax, right? Fraudulent ways of tax saving, and false information given, false misreporting of the income, everything would fall under the tax evasion. So you have to specifically write in your answer tax evasion, and why it is tax evasion. Basically what they are doing, you have to write misrepresentation of facts, falsification of accounting calculation, downright fraud. Tax evasion, basically what is tax evasion? Any attempt to avoid payment of taxes by using illegal means, basically. So यहाँ पे misrepresentation of facts हुआ, and company tried to claim the higher rate of depreciation, है ना? अगर as a furniture दिखाना पड़ता, if it is shown as a installed in the at a residence, then it would be classified as a furniture. Here instead of 10%, company is claiming a higher rate of 15%. So they are doing a misrepresentation. It would fall within the purview of this tax evasion. अगर आपका इसी तरीके से some other facts are given, for example, then you have to determine whether it's tax planning, tax evasion or tax avoidance. Suppose आपको 1 mark का 2 mark का क्वेश्चन भी आता है, then you have to write in your answers कि अगर आपने क्लासिफाई किया टैक्स प्लानिंग, तो आपको ये भी लिखना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज इट इज फॉर they are within the strictly in accordance with the law, strictly in accordance with the law, to avail the tax exemptions, to avail the tax benefits which are given by the provisions of the law. That would be tax planning. But what you are doing, if you are manipulating the facts, if you are misrepresenting the facts, you are falsifying the facts, accounting calculation, doing the fraud, it would be tax evasion. These words should appear in your answer sheet. Okay, then only you will fetch the full marks. Otherwise tax evasion, tax planning आपने लिख दिया only, तो आपको half marks से ज़्यादा नहीं मिलेगा. You have to write it or underline it. Underline the important facts. ठीक है, यहाँ पे क्या हुआ, हायर रेट ऑफ डेप्रिसिएशन कंपनी ने क्लेम किया, एंड बाय मिसरिप्रेजेंटिंग ऑफ फैक्ट्स इट वुड बी क्लासिफाइड एज टैक्स इवेशन, एंड देन यू प्लीज अंडरलाइन द फैक्ट्स. ठीक है, इसी तरीके टैक्स अवॉइडेंस इज अ थिन लाइन बिटवीन दिस टैक्स प्लानिंग एंड टैक्स अवॉइडेंस इन सब्सटेंस ओवर फॉर्म. आपने क्या किया, आप for the purpose of within coming into the legal framework, you are just showing the doing the activities in such a way कि there is no substance, only form is there. For example, in the lower jurisdiction, you are incorporated a company to claim the benefit of tax, lower tax, whereas there are no activities are being carried out in that company. So it is within the purview of the law, but what you are doing, they are not basically satisfying the requirement of the law. Actual activities होनी चाहिए वहां पे, तभी आप कंपनी क्रिएट करोगे. आप unnecessary, if you have created the company and there are no basic activities are there just for the purpose of sham companies, or we can say sham companies you are doing. So these are only for the purpose of taking the benefit of tax benefits, but they are not satisfying the requirement of the law, right? So in that case, it is a tax avoidance. Tax avoidance के लिए गार आया, right? General anti avoidance provision. Tax evasion के लिए गार नहीं है. गार किसके लिए है? गार is applicable where you are avoiding the taxes. ठीक है? To take the tax benefits, you are entering into such arrangements which is helping you to take the benefit of taxes, reduce your tax liabilities. You are making the arrangements in such a way. ठीक है, so उसके लिए for that purpose GAR have been introduced, right, to curb the tax avoidance. ठीक, अगर वहां पर tax evasion होता, suppose there is a tax evasion, tax evasion के लिए huge penalties are there, 270 की penalty लगती है, falsification के लिए other penalty provisions are also there, right? GAR को implement करने के लिए tax avoidance is necessary. ठीक है, अगर वहां पे टैक्स इविजन हुआ तो वहां पे आप गार अप्लाई नहीं कर सकते, टैक्स अवॉइडेंस के केस में ओनली गार अप्लाई करते हैं। सो यू हैव टू, अगर आपको क्वेश्चन गार पे भी है, देन यू हैव टू सी इट कि वेदर इट्स इन टैक्स इवेजन और इट्स इन टैक्स अवॉइडेंस. If it's in tax avoidance, then GAR will be can be applied, right? But if it's in the case of tax evasion, then GAR will not be applicable. Okay, so you have to identify whether where it's being falling, right? And please be very clearly specify in your answers whatever you are concluding it. Conclusion का mark होता है definitely, but उसके लिए you have to substantiate it with the proper reasoning. For example, यही question के लिए आपका exam में आएगा तो you have to answer in that way, right? Am I clear? Can we move to the next part or any query till this point? Just give me your raise your hand. Should we proceed or any query till this point? Next question is again it's very simple question. It's very simple question. Which of the following statement is correct in respect of cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency में क्या information दी थी हमें facts में? You have to again go back to the facts and look for the information, right? What is the information given? यहाँ पे हम देख लेते हैं, यहाँ पे अपनी फाइल्स कुछ खुली हुई हैं. It's not opened, I think. We have to move up. Okay, so Xavier have entered into some transaction of cryptocurrencies and he has earned some of the income. What information is given? Let's read all these statements because you have to just choose the correct statement, right? So what it is mentioning, it's not saying you to compute anything. You have to just choose a correct statement, right? The requirement of the question is not that difficult. So what they are saying, first statement is Mr. Xavier can claim deduction for both cost of acquisition and interest expenses while computing income from sale of cryptocurrency. Or B option is only the cost of acquisition is allowed as a deduction to Mr. Xavier. Interest expenses is not deductible. Neither cost of acquisition nor interest expense are allowed while computing income from sale of cryptocurrency. Or income from sale of cryptocurrency is exempt from tax in India. Very straightforward wrong option, है ना? So what is the correct answer? It's very simple. You people can answer. Let's just revise the provisions of VDA also. Waiting for your answer. Poonam, Leela, Rajan, Prashant, Divya. What is the correct answer? Should I show you the facts? It's a simple fact that on transfer of cryptocurrencies, Mr. Xavier has earned some income. The cost of acquisition is given. The interest options is given. Yes, Leela has returned. Prashant, you also please answer. Divya. Yes, B. It's a very easy. As per the VDA concept are being given in section 115 BBH. BBH में दिए हम. What BBH says कि the income, whatever be the income arising from virtual digital asset would be taxable at the rate 30%. Would be taxable at the rate 30%. Straightforward 30% लगेगा यहाँ पे. Okay. And no deduction will be allowed except cost of acquisition. Except cost of acquisition. ठीक है. So in computing income from transfer of virtual digital asset, no deduction would be allowed under any provisions of the act in respect of expenditure or along cost of acquisition. Further, no set off of any loss is allowed to the assessee from such income. You cannot set off any other income against the income arising from transfer of virtual digital asset. ठीक है. Further, you can also not set off the loss arising from the virtual digital asset from the other incomes. Please very specific. तो इसमें यहाँ पे this is an MCQ based question. You can be asked as an descriptive question can also be asked from this concept. You have to compute the this virtual digital asset income and you have to make it taxable at the rate 30%. ठीक है, कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन के अलावा कुछ और नहीं मिलेगा, हो सकता है आपको टू डिफरेंट वर्चुअल डिजिटल असेट्स भी दिए हों. Then what you have to do, you have to compute each incomes. If similar virtual digital asset is there, then you can set off that income. If the same digital asset, I'm not telling you if bitcoins are there, then bitcoins के against होगा. You can set off, you can compute, basically set off, you are computing the income itself in that way from the bitcoins. And if the virtual digital assets are different, then also it is not allowable to be set off. ठीक है, because आपको कुछ भी expenditure allowed नहीं है यहाँ पे. Only cost of acquisition is allowed and remaining everything is taxable at the rate 30%. You cannot set off other income against this. You cannot set off this income against other incomes. Okay, it's very simple. And definitely in case if you're receiving some virtual digital asset by way of gifts also, that would be taxable as per the provisions of 56(2)(10) itself. FMB as on the date of your receiving the gifts would be chargeable to tax. If it exceeds the inadequate consideration or all those things, it will be applicable and will accordingly be, you have to compute it. Right? VDA is not that difficult. If in case some descriptive questions are given, just please be keep in mind कि अगर आपको क्वेश्चन आ रहा है ना, you have to clearly write कि no set off is permissible. अगर आपको for example long term capital gain भी compute करने के लिए, you have long term capital gains arising from listed shares is given, loss is given against it, then it is not allowable to be set off against each other, right? And you have to mention it specifically. You have to write it in your answer. If certain this kind of transactions are being given in your questions, clearly लिखो अपने questions answer sheets में. ठीक है, कि if suppose some VDA से loss is arising and you are required to compute the total income, so you have to mention that this loss is not allowable to be set off against long term capital gains. If it is, suppose long term capital loss दिया है and VDA से income arise हो रही है, then that loss is not permissible to be set off against VDA income. Okay, accordingly you proceed to compute the total income and the tax liability, clearly specifying how you are computing it and how you are arriving at the total income and the tax liability. Specifically write it. This is okay. I think we can proceed to the another case scenario. Should we? Any other question till this? We have revised a little bit the REITs provisions. We have revised the little bit tax planning provisions, tax avoidance, tax evasion. Basically, specifically tax avoidance में देखना tax evasion है तो गार नहीं लगेगा, ठीक है? Tax avoidance है तो ही गार लगेगा. This is important thing. Education cess का one of the important point. अगर if you are deducting TDS for the on the payments made to a non-resident, then education cess need to be applied. You please specifically keep in mind. Specifically आपको यहाँ तो at the time of deducting the tax you will remember, but at the time of grossing up करने के लिए आपको suppose कुछ income दी है in the hands of non-resident, there you have to keep in mind. वहाँ पे there is a possibility of doing some mistake. So वहाँ पे आप देखिए REITs का specifically 115 BAB लिखा हो, not impact. BAA लिखा है, then only it will have an impact on the taxability in the hands of unit holders. ठीक है, this is important points. ठीक है, these are the takeaways from the case scenario 1. So similarly, if you see, we have already published our case scenario booklet. We have come out with our MTP booklets. So do solve the questions. ठीक है, जो भी questions वहाँ पे दिए हुए हैं, mark it कि आपका किस chapter से relate कर रहा है. तो जब when you are revising that chapter, go through those case scenarios, go through those questions again, so that you will came to know what are the important aspects which can be tested from this provision, from this chapter can be tested. So that will help you, revising the provisions in that way. Okay, now so shall we proceed with the case scenario 2? This is an again very interesting case scenario which is based on section 194O. 194O की implications है basically इस case scenario में. And what else in this case scenario? I think you all have done it, not? How many of you have attempted the MTP, RTP? How many of you have attempted MTP? Let me ask one by one. MTP किस किसने कर लिया? Both series have been there. are there? How many of you? In examination conditions you have done it? MTP के लिए बताइए अब जल्दी से. प्रशांत, अंशुल, राजन, लीला. Fast, give me replies. I think ये questions आपने कर लिए होंगे कि scenario booklet में भी are given, MTP booklets में भी given. Many things are there for practicing. Many things. किसी का hand raise नहीं आ रहा, किसी ने नहीं किया. RTP. MTP अभी तक no one has solved MTP. Why? Why, Prashant? It's almost end of the April month. Why? So I think I should take these case scenarios. Otherwise, you have already done these case scenarios. Just let's revise the provisions again. Just brush up the things again. But it's so surprising. You have not done the MTPs. And RTP? What about RTP? Such an important publication. RTP. If you have not done, please do it. Please do it. Solve it on your own. Okay, important thing that you should solve RTP and MTP on your own. Do not read the things. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for you to, appear for the exams and do solve your questions in the exams. Otherwise, time manage नहीं होता वहां पे जाके इतना बड़ा lengthy paper लगने लगता है. You will find that paper is very lengthy and you will not able to attempt it. So it would be better if you do the MTP in the examination conditions. आज ही जाओ MTP 1 series please solve it. ठीक है, अभी मैं case scenario 2 लेती हूँ. आप MTP का आपके 2 की preparation यहाँ से हो जाएगी. But still I will say you कि at least do the descriptive questions. ठीक है, 40 minutes हटा के whatever the remaining do the descriptive portion. Today I am going to here only take you the case scenario 1 may you have some query, Anshul? Yeah, please ask me. Yes, Anshul, you can unmute yourself and ask me.
Yes, madam, that case scenario 1 in this RTP. Case scenario 1 of RTP. So there, actually, there they are saying the question was on qualifying shipping company. And the case scenario 1 and the question number 6, which says when it can, opt for the tonnage tax scheme. The due date of the date of incorporation is given, and the question asks what is the date by which it can opt for tonnage tax scheme. Now the answer is given 30th June 2032.
Actually, आप देखोगे एक बार tonnage tax scheme का provision if you go through, they are mentioning till the date the company is claiming the deduction under section 80LA. उसके बाद से they can opt for this tonnage tax scheme, right?
Okay.
हाँ, that's why it's 32 because 10 years में 10 up to out of 15 years, 10 years you can claim this deduction. The company started claiming the deduction in this year, then up to 32 they will claim the deduction under section 80LA. So after that they will go and opt for the tonnage tax.
Great, madam. Sure, madam. Thanks.
Yeah. So shall we proceed with the another case scenario? Let's take it. So 194O, it's a quite interesting case scenario. Not that difficult also, it's an easy one. Here, what information is given that Mr. Badri, a professional interior decorator, conducts online lectures on interior decoration through e-commerce platform Pathshala. The details are being given that date of credit is given, date of payment to Mr. Badri is given, then value of services provided is given. Apart from that, in addition to the above mentioned income, on 18/2/25, Mr. Badri received 20,000 directly from a student rather than Pathshala payment system. Directly it is receiving. It's an important thing. Okay? Directly may, why this I am emphasizing, I will tell you. Directly from a student rather than via Pathshala payment system. Badri has provided his pen to Pathshala. Now, next information is with respect to Badri is that Badri gave Mr. Natin in Mumbai, who had a business turnover of 1.2 crores in previous year 23-24. Turnover of Mr. Nitin is given, okay? Interior decorating service for his office and residential space on May 5th, 24 for a total of 40,000 and 60,000 respectively. Badri has provided interior decoration service to the Mr. Nitin, whose business turnover is 1.2 crores, and Mr. Nitin has taken these services for both purpose, for office also as well as for residential space. The entire revenue received by Mr. Badri from his interior design business in previous year 24-25 from clients in India, including Mr. Nitin, is around 40 lakhs. कितना आ रहा है total? 40 lakhs, excluding fees for online lectures. Excluding, read the words, excluding. ठीक है? Further, 1,10,000 is payable by Mr. Badri to Phonics LLC, a social networking website having no office in India, and 1,05,000 to Devita Inc. USA for giving online advertisement for the purpose of attracting foreign clients. Devita Inc. USA has an office in India for providing online advertisement services. आपको माइंड में क्लिक होने लगा होगा ना कि इट इज रिलेटेड टू व्हाट प्रोविजन. सो अभी नहीं आपको करना है, अभी जस्ट रीड करेंगे हम, फिर क्वेश्चंस पढ़ेंगे, क्वेश्चंस के रिक्वायरमेंट के बाद यू विल एनालाइज की इन फैक्ट्स का व्हाट इज द रिलेवेंस. Devita Inc. USA has an office in India for providing online advertisement services. Fortunately, Mr. Badri got one client based in country A, with which India does not have a TTA, from whom he received 3,50,000 as net income after deduction of 50,000 as foreign tax. Okay. According to the books of accounts maintained by Badri under section 44AA, his profits amounts to 24 lakhs. This is also given. However, his books of accounts have not been audited. He doesn't want to audit it's audited. So now my next question. There are 4 MCQs appended to this thing. 5 questions, 4 to 8. So is Pathshala required to deduct tax at source on amount received or received by Mr. Badri? If so, what is the amount of tax to be deducted? Kya Pathshala? Pathshala is one who is providing the facility to Mr. Badri for conducting its online classes. Okay? So it is a platform. It's an e-commerce operator. And Mr. Badri is an e-commerce participant, right? So whether is Pathshala is required to deduct tax at source, you have to go through the facts again. You have to recall the provision again. Here, no tax is required to be deducted. First option is given. Then yes, 5,100. Yes, 25,500. Yes, 510 is there. What would be the answer? इस तरीके से इसको थोड़ा सा I will do it little bit small so that you can see all the yes. Now all the options are given to you. Pathshala required to deduct tax at source on receivable or received or received by Mr. Badri. If so, what is the amount of tax to be deducted? See, let's revise the provision once. Okay, but just quickly have a just revise the provision of 194O. 194O, which is with respect to TDS on certain payments by e-commerce operator to e-commerce participant. यहाँ पे e-commerce operator कौन हो गया? Who is the e-commerce operator here? Pathshala, right? And who is the e-commerce participant? Mr. Badri. ठीक है. अब 194O क्या बोलता है? What 194O says, where sale of goods or provision of services of an e-commerce participant, it's meeting the criteria, is facilitated by an e-commerce operator through his digital or electronic facility, then the e-commerce operator that is Pathshala. I will tell you one important fact regarding e-commerce operator also here. Is liable to deduct tax at source at the rate 1% of gross amount of such sales or services or both. यहाँ पे amendment है. What is this amendment? That they have reduced this 1% to 0.1%. On the same lines basically. आप देखो 194H में भी 1.1%. आपका so यहाँ पे भी unnecessary you are making so much huge, reducing the tax compliance burden, reducing this Working capital requirements, they have reduced the rates on certain sections by the Finance Act 24, Finance number 2 Act 24, and they have reduced from on or after 1/10/24. ठीक है, so ये याद रखना, rates being reduced to from 1% to 0.1%. Okay, what is the time of deduction? You have to deduct the tax at the time of credit or at the time of payment, whichever is earlier. You have to remember. आप पेमेंट वाले याद कर लो, ये तो याद हो जाएंगे, बिकॉज एट द टाइम ऑफ पेमेंट बहुत स्पेसिफिक सेक्शंस में ही है, अदरवाइज इट इज ऑलवेज एट द टाइम ऑफ क्रेडिट और पेमेंट विच एवर इज अर्लियर. टाइम ऑफ डिडक्शन याद करने का तरीका यही है, जस्ट रिमेंबर द सेक्शंस where TDS is required to be deducted at the time of payment, then remaining are the same provision, that is at the time of credit or at the time of payment, whichever is earlier. Here one more concept, एक तो TDS उसको deduct करना है whatever be the facilities they are doing, whatever be the payments they are doing directly or indirectly. If, for example, I have provided some services on electronic e-commerce platform, ठीक है, मैंने services provide करी, but some of the participants are my own only. I am telling you take the classes, but persons are making direct payment to me. So वो जो direct payment भी है, that direct payment, that also would fall within the purview of the amount on which e-commerce operator is required to deduct TDS. ठीक है, वो उसी में include करके आप निकालोगे. So that is called deemed credit. इसको क्या माना जाएगा? Deemed credit माना जाएगा, which are the payments directly made by a to the e-commerce participant by a purchaser of goods or by the recipient of services. ठीक है, कोई भी. So any payment by a purchaser of goods or recipient of services directly to an e-commerce participant for sale of goods or provision of services or both facilitated by e-commerce operator would be deemed to be amount credited or paid by e-commerce operator. यहाँ पे क्या इंपॉर्टेंट है कि जो आपकी थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट है इन केस ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स और HUFs के लिए, only for individual. If the e-commerce participant is an individual or an HUF, then no TDS would be deductible if such gross amount of such sale or services does not exceed ₹5 lakh. यहाँ पे ये मैटर करता है कि अगर आपका डायरेक्ट पेमेंट्स भी है ना, that also would be included in this gross amount. Direct payment, whatever be the direct payments you are making, direct payments your e-commerce participant is receiving, that also would be included. This is gross amount. This amount में आपको include करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, to determine this threshold limit of 5 lakh rupees. This is important point. Another important point is e-commerce operator के लिए यहाँ पे it is not necessary whether the e-commerce operator is a resident or a non-resident. Irrespective of its residential status, whatever be the e-commerce operator, if it is facilitating or providing services through this digital platform to an e-commerce participant, then 194O will be attracted. Okay, this is important. But 194O when will not be applicable? When e-commerce participant is a non-resident. Clearly they are saying e-commerce participant is a person resident in India. E-commerce participant should be resident in India, then only the provisions of section 194 will be applicable. ठीक है, this is important thing. ठीक है, देखना है अगर वो नॉन रेजिडेंट है तो 194O नहीं अट्रैक्ट होगा, but if it is a your resident, then only 194 will be attracted. So in our case the participant is a resident only. अगर क्वेश्चन में इंफॉर्मेशन दो, डेफिनेटली इट्स अनरेजिडेंट ओनली. नॉन रेजिडेंट हो तो क्वेश्चन विल स्पेसिफिकली स्पेसिफाई इट. Important thing, now you tell me what services they are providing, how much is the amount. Let's see it from the facts. It's given 31/5/24, 31/10/24 and then 31/3/25. अब आपको पता है कि 5 लाख की थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट. ठीक है, अब उसने 10/6 में पेमेंट करी, डेट ऑफ पेमेंट है 10/6, 31/5 में करे, whichever is earlier 31/5 होता. अगर यहीं पे दिस अमाउंट इज 5 लाख, मोर देन 5 लाख, डज नॉट एक्सीड, देन अगर यहाँ पे आपका 5 लाख से ज्यादा होता तो ये यहीं पे डिडक्ट कर लेगा और एट द रेट 1% होता. बट यहाँ पे 5 लाख एक्सीड नहीं कर रहा, इट्स नॉट एक्सीडिंग 5 लाख रुपीज. व्हाट विल हैपन नेक्स्ट ट्रांजेक्शन में the Pathshala will see in the next transaction will it be exceeding the threshold limit of 5 lakh or not. If yes, on 3110 में, this is whichever is earlier 3110, यहाँ पे 1010, तो यहाँ पे डिडक्ट करता है वो 1010 में. बट यहाँ पे स्टिल अभी भी आप लोग देखो एग्रीगेट करके दिस अमाउंट इज नॉट एक्सीडिंग, स्टिल इट इज 3,50,000 ओनली. ठीक है. फिर यहाँ पे आपका नेक्स्ट ट्रांजेक्शन व्हेन इट इज टेकिंग प्लेस ऑन 31st of March and date of payment is 10/4, तो TDS would be deducted on this date, है ना. TDS will be deducted on this date. अगर ये आपका डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन होता है यू हैव टू मेंशन इट इन योर आंसर कि on 31st March the Pathshala will be required to deduct TDS on amount of rupees this. अब अमाउंट क्या हुआ, 140 आया आपका यहाँ पे. हाउ मच इट इज कमिंग, it is coming to 490 if I am not wrong. It's 2 lakh plus 350 plus 140. 350 plus 140 it comes to 490. अभी भी नहीं आ रहे तो 5 lakh exceed ही नहीं किया, करेगा deduct. Let's look for the another information. What is this information? In addition to the above mentioned income, Mr. Badri received, yes, 20,000. Good, Prashant. So direct payment also will be covered. 20,000. It is coming to 5 lakh 10,000. ठीक है. अभी 5 लाख 10,000 किस रेट पे कटेगा, 1% पे और 0.1% पे, किस रेट पे कटेगा TDS? Tell me at what rate? What rate TDS will be deducted, at the rate of 1% or 0.1%? कब पेमेंट करनी पड़े, कब TDS इज रिक्वायर्ड टू बी डिडक्टेड? व्हेन एग्रीगेट तो आप ओवरऑल करोगे, पूरे साल का करोगे डेफिनेटली, जो भी लास्ट ट्रांजैक्शन होगी, व्हेनेवर that amount exceeds the threshold limit, on that you have to deduct the TDS. At what rate? It's 0.1%. Yes, Anshul is right. Anshul is right. It's deducted at the rate of 0.1% since threshold limit exceeds only on 31st of March. March में exceed करिए ना. So answer would be D. Am I right? Have you understood? अगर ये डिस्क्रिप्टिव होगा, why I am telling you, अगर ये क्वेश्चन डिस्क्रिप्टिव हुआ तो what all information you have to write in your answer. अगर आपका सिंपल क्वेश्चन है MCQ बेस्ड तो आपने फटाफट से D टिक कर लिया, बट ध्यान रखना डायरेक्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन भी है, दोनों क्वेश्चंस के आंसर्स भी है, ए ऑप्शन भी दिया हुआ जहाँ पे बोला नो टैक्स. अगर आपने वहां पर डायरेक्ट पेमेंट को इंक्लूड नहीं किया होता, ऑप्शन ए विल बी करेक्ट. इफ आपने अमेंडेड रेट का याद नहीं होता, देन ऑप्शन बी कैन बी करेक्ट. इफ दूसरी चीज 31st मार्च को आ रहा है तो ऑप्शन डी इज द करेक्ट ऑप्शन. ठीक है. अब गलती के चांसेस बहुत ज्यादा होते हैं अगर आपने इंफॉर्मेशन ठीक से नहीं पढ़ी केस सिनेरियो में. अगर आपका ये डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन होता तो यू हैव टू स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन that as per section 194O, tax is deductible at the rate 0.1% since a threshold limit exceeds on this date. You have to mention clearly e-commerce participant hai, this is e-commerce operator hai, and it's meeting, and direct payment also will be included. ठीक है, on the whole amount including the direct payments. In that way you have to proceed and write in your answer clearly. ठीक है. देन ओनली विल फेच द मार्क्स. प्रॉब्लम होती है बच्चों के साथ में कि वो डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन में आंसर करके नहीं आएंगे, आप लिख के आ जाओगे 0.1% या 1%, और उसके बाद आपने डेट नहीं मेंशन करी, या फिर आपने उस पर डायरेक्ट पेमेंट के बारे में यू आर नॉट राइटिंग एनीथिंग, यू आर नॉट कैलकुलेटिंग द थिंग्स. तो प्लीज read the requirement of the question accordingly, write all the important points, all the relevant provisions in your answer. Right? Next question, it's very easy question. I want you to answer this question. I am not going to explain the provision first. I want you to answer this question. Let me read for you. Is Mr. Nitin कौन है भाई? Nitin person है ना जिनको उन्होंने इंटीरियर डेकोरेशन की सर्विसेज he has provided, right? Mr. Nitin is the person to whom he has provided an interior decoration service and whose business turnover exceeds 1.2 crore something, and he has availed the services for both purpose, for official purpose as well as for the residence purpose. Am I right? This is the information, the facts. Don't try to recall, you just please in examination you please go and see the facts again, verify the facts again. ठीक है, एक बार ठीक से फिर से पढ़ लेना. So, Nitin required to deduct tax under section 194J. If so, what is the amount of tax to be deducted? Official payments पे करिए कितना amount आएगा? Let me take you through the facts पे ले चलते हैं आपको ना. हाँ, ये है facts. Mr. Badri, these are the facts. Read करके you just tell me on what amount TDS is to be deducted and what rate. I'm waiting. Leela, Rajnawala, Rajan, Leela, Anshul, Prashant. I'm waiting for your answers. TDS के amount बता दो just मुझे. You just tell me the amount. What rate TDS is to be deducted? %10. Yes. 10% पे deduct होगा. So 40,000 पे only है ना? 194J में. प्रोफेशनल सर्विसेज आगे प्रोफेशनल सर्विसेज पे 194J में 30,000 से ज्यादा है. प्रोफेशनल सर्विसेज एक बार फिर से 194J देखना बहुत स्पेसिफिक है. सम इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स यू हैव टू कीप इन माइंड. यस ऑन 40,000 4,000. यस 4,000. व्हाई आई एम टेलिंग यू जस्ट 194J एक बार फटाफट से रिवाइज करते हैं. उसके इंपॉर्टेंट की पॉइंट्स को एक बार जस्ट रिकॉल करते हैं. ओके. So answer is very simple. Personal चीजों के लिए on the personal services TDS is not required to be deducted under section 194J. For making them, come under the TDS purview, section 194M was inserted for an individual or HUF. So 194J में what is important points? Let's see that every person other than individual or HUF who is responsible for paying to a resident any sum by way of your fee for professional services, technical services, or remuneration, or fees or commission, or whatever name called other than those on which TDS is deductible under section 92 to a director के लिए, और रॉयल्टी और नॉन कम्पीट फीस. 5 सर्विसेज दे रखे हैं इन्होंने. फीस फॉर प्रोफेशनल सर्विसेज, FTS अलग दिया हुआ है, रॉयल्टी अलग दिया हुआ है, रेमुनरेशन एंड फीस फॉर डायरेक्टर्स इज गिवन, नॉन कम्पीट फीस इज आल्सो गिवन. व्हाट इज द रेट ऑफ TDS? TDS in case of FTS not being professional services. TDS अभी आपने नॉट बिंग प्रोफेशनल सर्विसेज लिखा हुआ यहाँ पे. ठीक है. सो प्रोफेशनल सर्विसेज के लिए आपने 10% रेट बोला. यू आर राइट. अगर यहाँ पे FTS होता, इफ इट इज FTS, देखो सो बहुत क्लोजली रिलेटेड है, थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूज होने. अगर FTS होता तो रेट इज 2%. ठीक है. एंड इन केस ऑफ रॉयल्टी विच इज इन द नेचर for sale or distribution, which is in the nature of sale or distribution or exhibition of cinematographic films, उसके रिस्पेक्ट में आपको लग रहा है 2%. अदरवाइज इट इज 10%. If royalty is in the nature of consideration for sale, distribution, exhibition of cinematographic films, then 2%. Otherwise, it is 10%. आप देखोगे FTS पे 2% है. रॉयल्टी वो भी स्पेसिफिक केसेस में 2% है. अदरवाइज इट इज 10%. सो यू रिमेंबर इट. इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड अनदर थिंग इज कि जो आपकी लिमिट है, दैट लिमिट ऑफ 30,000, दिस लिमिट ऑफ 30,000 इज सेपरेटली एप्लीकेबल. It's separate for your professional services, it's separate for your FTS, it's separate for your royalty, it's separate for your non-compete fees. ठीक है. And there is no limit for commission, remuneration, whatever name called, paying to a director of a company. Then there is no threshold limit. No threshold limit is applicable for fee or commission payable to a director of a company. This is very important. Right? So this is about your threshold limit separately and all those things. Please keep in mind this. This is important point which you have to remember. So you are not knowing it कि यहाँ पे in the present case, in the present fact, professional services are being given by Badri to Mr. Nitin for his business purpose. Then 194J would be attracted at the rate of 10%. Okay. Then next is with respect to 194M. 194M. क्या बोल रहे हैं? इज मिस्टर नितिन, अगर 194J में नहीं रिक्वायर्ड है तो मिस्टर नितिन इज रिक्वायर्ड टू डिडक्ट अंडर सेक्शन 194M in respect of your official person service. Official का तो you know कि it is required to be deducted in section 194J, but for the services which he has availed for residential purposes, on that whether the provisions of section 194M are applicable. You tell me. 194M के provisions would be applicable or not? Nitin के केस में Nitin is taking the services from Mr. Badri, whether the 194M will be applicable for that 60,000 rupees. 40,000 may you know? No. Yes. The reason? Anshul, what is the reason? These are very simple provisions. Yes, does not exceed the 50 lakh limits. Right? These are very simple provisions, but definitely आपको rate से याद करना पड़ेगा. Threshold limits you have to remember. There is no other option. You have to remember the threshold limits. You have to remember the rates and everything to answer these questions. So it's very simple question. Actually, 194M is with respect to an individual or an HUF. For contract work के लिए, for commission 194H जो था, fee for professional services. Specifically individual or HUF, where they are required to deduct TDS. They are required to deduct TDS under section 194M at the rate 5% if they are taking this for carrying out any work, paying by way of commission or by way of fee for professional services at the rate 5%, and this rate is also being reduced with effect from 1/10/24 to 2%. ठीक है, ध्यान रखना 2% से इसकी भी रेट कम हुई है. 194M also has reduced the rates of under section 194M also reduced, where the individual HUF are not subjected to tax, are not required to deduct tax under section 194C, J and H. These individuals are required to deduct TDS under this section if it exceeds the threshold limit of 50 lakh rupees. For example, person services के लिए 194J में TDS is not required by an individual. If their turnover limits are not exceeding that 1 crore or that amount, then they are not subjected to TDS under section 194C, 194J or H. But these individuals or HUFs are required to deduct TDS under section 194M if the contractual amount or the commission amount or the fee for professional services amount, either of these exceeds to a particular individual person exceeds 50 lakh rupees, then TDS is required to be deducted under section 194M. So यहाँ पे cross application you have to see. You have to see 194J if it's in respect of fee for professional services. You have to look at 194C if it is in work contracts, or if it's in respect of commission or this 194H. You have to see whether they are applicable. If they are applicable, 194M is not applicable. If 194 those are not applicable, then you have to see whether 194M is applicable or not. You have to satisfy the conditions specified in 194M also for its applicability. In this particular case, it's only 60,000. It's not exceeding the threshold limit of 50 lakhs. So no TDS is required to be deducted. So keep in mind, rate also reduced in this provision. Okay, it's an easy one. Not that I have discussed where these provisions are not required, not liable to deduct. कब 194M में कब नहीं कटेगा, but 194C और H और J में they are required to deduct, and whose total sales or gross receipts are exceeding 1 crore or 50 lakh in the immediately preceding financial year, or further in case of section such amount is not exclusively credited or paid for personal purposes. Then ठीक है. So next question again, this question is different. अभी तक हम TDS के provisions के थे, these three questions. Now this question is with respect to your equalization levy. Seventh question is for equalization levy. क्या है? Let's read this question. Is Mr. Badri required to deduct equalization levy? देखो ये interesting है. No equalization levy of 6%. Why? Why, Prashant? Abhi at presently for May 25 exams, it's equally relevant. ठीक है, अभी मैंने initially at the beginning of my session I informed you the amendments which are being made by Finance Act 25 are not relevant for you. ठीक है, of course it is being withdrawn, इसके implications नहीं है practically nowadays, but for your exam, since your cutoff date for exams is Finance number 2 Act 24 is applicable, right? And your cutoff date is 6 months prior to the exam, so that is not applicable. Finance Act 25 amendments are not relevant for you. Question may be asked on equalization levy. ठीक है, question can be asked. So यहाँ पे question को read करते हैं. Is Mr. Badri required to deduct equalization levy on the amounts payable to Phonics LLC or David Tank? दो लोगों से इन्होंने services लिए हैं. Mr. Badri has taken these services from two persons, that is Phonics LLC and David Tank. If so, what is the amount of levy to be deducted? क्या लगेगा? No, first option is no. There is no requirement to deduct equalization levy from the amount payable to either Phonics LLC or to David Tank. Is not required. No, there is no requirement. Second is yes, 6,600 to be deducted on the amount payable to Phonics LLC. No reduction is however required on the amount payable to David Tank. Yeah, I will show you. I will show you. So yes, in the second C portion, 6,300 to be deducted on the amount payable to Debita Inc. No deduction is required on the amount of Phonics LLC. Yes, 6,600 to be deducted on the amount payable to Phonics LLC and 6,300 to be deducted on the amount payable to Debita. अब आपको facts देखने ही पड़ेंगे. Without it, it's not possible to answer this question. ठीक है, facts को देख के we will answer this question. ठीक है. हाँ, what is the facts? Let's read these facts. These facts are related to this. इसमें क्या कर रहा है? 1,10,000 is payable by Mr. Badri to Phonics LLC, a social networking website having no office in India. ठीक है, यहाँ पे इनका कोई ऑफिस नहीं है. And 1,05,000 to Devita Inc. USA for giving online advertisements for the purpose of attracting foreign clients. Devita Inc. USA has an office in India. Very fast. It's an easy concept, is it? Isn't it? Devita Inc. USA has an office in India for providing online advertisement services. Fortunately, Mr. Badri also got this. Okay. So Phonics link को क्यों करना है? Why? Why to Phonics? Why not Devita? Why to Phonics? Why not to Devita? You just tell me that answer. I need the reasoning. Substantiate your answer with the reason. That's what you are required to answer while doing the descriptive question. Yes. So if a person is having a office in India, it is subjected to the tax in India, right? Equalization levy आए ही उन्हीं के लिए था जो बाहर से आके यहाँ पे सर्विसेज बाहर से अपनी सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं इंडियन पर्सन को. ठीक है, Indian person, not resident only. It's if a person is having a PE also, then also they are required to deduct TD this equalization levy. ठीक है, so अगर इसका कोई PE नहीं है, then only this equalization levy at the rate 6% will be applicable. This is an easy one. Yes, Phonics do not have a PE and Devita Inc. has a PE. So Mr. Badri is required to deduct equalization levy on the payment made to Phonics LLC. It's an easy one. Okay. Now, the last question. Last question के लिए you need the facts also basically. उसके लिए let's see why these facts are not there. Just a minute, give me a minute. Is this slide, this screen is visible to you people? Please tell me. Let me increase its size because I want, to show the facts together. Last question basically is asking you what it is asking you. Just let me take you to the question, and then we will come to this facts. Right? Small size it is okay. I will make it big. So last question is basically is asking you to compute the income tax liability of Mr. Badri. Gross income tax liability for the previous year 24-25 of Mr. Badri, who has opted out. Look for this information. This information is very, very necessary. Opt out hai. Then otherwise default tax regime. If question is not specifying, then you have to calculate as per the default tax regime. If it's in full-fledged question, definitely you have to make a comparison also between the normal regime and the default tax regime. But if it's a small question, then you have to do the calculation as per the default tax regime, unless it's clearly specifying opted out of the default tax regime. So here you have to compute the gross income tax liability for the previous year 24-25. Let's understand what are its income. Total income कौन सी है, हम उस पे facts पे जाके then we will decide. ठीक है. Now आप देखोगे यहाँ पे इनकी income from this पाठशाला he earned 5,10,000 that we have computed. ठीक है, 5,10,000 की यहाँ पे income आई थी. Then another income, he has provided some services of 40,000 and 60,000 to Mr. Nitin. This is its income. Then what else is there given? The entire revenue received by Mr. Badri from his interior design business in previous year 24-25 from clients in India, including Mr. Nitin. मतलब नितिन से भी इनकम इंक्लूड कर रखी है और अदर क्लाइंट्स की इनकम इज आल्सो इंक्लूडेड एंड हिज टोटल रेवेन्यू इज 40 लाख रुपीस. इट एक्सक्लूड्स द फीस फॉर ऑनलाइन लेक्चर्स की फीस कितनी थी अभी. सो 40 lakhs तो टोटल हो गया, मतलब इट्स इंक्लूडिंग योर नितिन्स वाला इनकम आल्सो. इट्स इंक्लूड्स नितिन्स इनकम. वॉट एवर द इनकम ही हैज रिसीव्ड फ्रॉम नितिन, इट्स बीन इंक्लूडेड इन दिस 40 lakh rupees, राइट. सो 40 lakh ये हुआ. व्हाट एल्स? 5,10,000 हमने देखा था. What? This is your income from online teaching. Then he has also earned some income from where? In India only it's mentioned. In India. It's an outside India he has received 3,50,000 as net income after reduction of 50 lakh rupees. So it's total gross up. You have to do the grossing up. So it would come to 4 lakh rupees. Am I right? Is this okay? What would be his gross to what would be his income? Total income? Opted out, so no deductions, and chapter 6 से ऐसा कुछ deduction है नहीं इसमें. What its income? You compute and tell me what's his total income. You have all the facts with you. ऊपर 5,10,000 है, यहाँ पे 40 lakh हुआ आपका, and 4 lakh received from outside India, country A. Very interesting question. इसके basis पे some descriptive questions can also be framed, or from descriptive question case scenario can also be framed. You calculate and tell me. Total income तो बताओ फटाफट से. You just tell me the total income. Easy calculation. Only you tell me the total income, then we will compute the tax liability. What happened, Anshul, Prashant, Leela, Rajan, Poonam? Let me compute for you. एक information और देखो आप यहाँ पे, some information is also given that according to books of account maintained by Mr. Badri under section 44A, his profits amount to 24 lakhs. ठीक है, as per the books of accounts his profits amounts to 24 lakhs. हमने कितना कंप्यूट किया है अभी? कुछ याद आ रहा है कौन से प्रोविजंस लगेंगे यहाँ पे? Badri is in providing interior decorator services. ठीक है, 44 ADA can be applied here. Can we apply 44 ADA? See, yes, 44 ADA will be applicable, right? So यहाँ पे if you see, its income is coming to 49 lakh 10,000. Gross income है, this is revenue consideration. अब 49 lakh 10,000. What 44 ADA talks about? कितना बोलते हैं presumptive income? 50%. 50% is what? 49.10. It's coming to 24.55. As per books of accounts, it's 24 lakhs. It's less than, he can declare 44 ADA. He can go and opt for 44 AD because he is not required. His books of accounts also he doesn't want to get audited, not audited. So he can pay. He can opt to for this 44 ADA, isn't it? So his total income would become 24 lakh 55,000, and he is not. He is opted out of the BAC. BAC opt out kiya, then what are the rates? Simple. Above 10 lakh it is 30%. And up to 10 lakh it's 1,12,500. ठीक है, 2,50,000 to 5 lakh 5%, then 5 lakh to 10 lakh it's 20%, and above that it's 30%, isn't it? So 24 lakh 55,000 में क्या से निकालेंगे? 10 lakh minus करके it's 24 lakh 55,000 minus 10 lakh into 30%, 4,36,500 plus 112,500. It's coming to 5,49,000 is the tax, isn't it? Then space cess only will be applicable. 4% cess coming to 5,70,960 after including cess. ठीक है, 5,49,000 into 4%, it is coming to 21,960. Okay. So it's coming to 5,70,960. See, 44 AD के बारे में nothing is given in the question. कुछ नहीं लिखा हुआ है. You have to apply your mind. You have to analyze the facts and then see that it's an interior decorator and it's within the threshold limit of 50 lakh or 75 lakh, whichever is applicable, right? Here it's not, itself is not exceeding 50 lakh. It may be possible 75 lakh limit also you are required to verify. You have to see, look for the information कि online payments आपकी जो payment receipts हैं वो कितनी होनी चाहिए. It should not exceed the this 5% of the overall receipts and all. So वो उसके बाद में you can have the option of claiming the higher threshold limit of 75 lakhs would be applicable in case of 44 ADA. So that you have to bring in your mind that 44 ADA can also be applicable. Otherwise what you will do, as per the books of accounts it's 24 lakhs. ठीक है, अब आप कौन सा लोगे? 49 lakh 10,000 is your gross receipts. Is your gross receipts. ठीक है, अब 49 lakh 10,000 as your gross receipts. आपको expenditure you are, do not have any information. You do not have information about the your expenditure. What you will do? No other. And in the case of presumptive provisions, it's straightforward, 50% of your gross receipts, and that your it's not exceeding your books of accounts income, then you can go and opt for this presumptive provision 44 ADA. Then your presumptive income will become your total income if no deductions are there. If certain deductions are there, then definitely you have to apply for the look for the deductions. You will provide the deduction in chapter 6A also. Okay, PGBP ki income you have derived at. Other incomes are also given in the question, then you have to add that incomes also to arrive at the total income. That's what I want to say, that you have to analyze the facts. You have to recall the provisions because it's an integration of many provisions. आपने देखा होगा यहाँ पे TDS के provisions they have tested your PGBP provisions properly, 44 ADA, 44 AA and all. Then your equalization levy provisions are being tested. They have asked you to check the 115 BAC नहीं था because it is opt out of the BAC. अगर BAC होता तो आपको BAC के slabs लगाने पड़ते. You have to apply the slabs. Apart from this, no other income is there, so it's fine, it's well and good. Other incomes also are given for Mr. Badri, then you have to look for that information also. You have to combine all the information, then compute its tax liability. यहाँ पे ग्रॉस टैक्स लायबिलिटी पूछा था, नेट टैक्स लायबिलिटी नहीं पूछा था. अदरवाइज you are required to determine the relief also under section 190 under section 91, because he has earned some income from outside India and he has paid the foreign tax there also. 91 can also come into picture. So there is an integration of many provisions in the particular case scenario. It's very interesting also, definitely. But you have to recall all the provisions. You have to look for the information, what are the relevant information, then apply the provisions over the MCQs. Gross tax liability था, यहाँ पे आपके कितनी implications थी, then only will arrive at the correct tax liability of the person. Anything which you would like to ask me? Any other question? One more case scenario is also there, but we have already at 4 o'clock. I think it's not possible for me to take up that case scenario for you. It's not that difficult, it's not that difficult. Non-resident questions में आप देखोगे MTP में descriptive questions are given. Non-resident का one question is there, जो आपका next case scenario, which is on your interesting Supreme Court case law for the non-residents. The royalty income, when the income will be taxable as royalty in case of your rights to use the copyright or right to use. It's an interesting engineering services wala case law is there, which is quite interesting, and it is with respect to only non-residents. This case scenario is for the non-residents. They are this Inc. is a company headquartered in country F, operates an online platform that provides end user computer software under end user ULA. Okay. You have a question, Prashant? You please ask me if you have some question. It's an easy one, and uska aap dekhoge similar kinds of questions are given in your case scenario booklet. There we have given the reasoning also, and let me take you and show the case scenario booklet. You please go through that booklet. Their reasonings are given, and whenever you are doing and solving questions, do it yourself, then only compare and check your answers. ठीक है, जहाँ पे गलतियां करो, whatever be the mistakes you are doing, ठीक है, what are the things which are the critical key points, critical areas where there are chances of mistakes, you please highlight those things. ठीक है, अभी तो आपका रिवीजन टाइम है, तो आप, I am assuming कि you are already done your studies, it's just revising the things. ठीक है, अब आपका यहाँ क्या है, मैं आपको क्या दिखा रही थी, what I am showing you, just a minute. Case scenario booklet I'm just showing you. Case scenario booklet पे if you see, and I think आपने ले ली होगी, और you can download it also, करी होगी आपने. यहाँ पे आप देखोगे इस क्वेश्चंस के आपकी रीजनिंग ऑल्सो गिवन. आपको कहीं पे डाउट है तो for helping you, reasons are also given in the case scenario booklet. So please do and solve that case scenario booklet. What is your question, that non-resident, if a company receive dividend by GDR, then we apply AC. AC is specifically is there, na? If for some specific provision is there with respect to a particular thing, then you please apply and do the AC. Okay, 115 AC is with respect to GDRs. Then please apply this AC provisions, not A. A is a general one. Yes, for company also. In general, please read the specific provision. If some specific provisions are there with respect to a particular income, then that provisions are applicable. General provisions are applicable when nothing is specifically mentioned with respect to a particular income. Some specific GDRs provisions are there in respect of interest dividend received from a GDR. It's been taxable at a particular rate. Then that provision will override the general provisions. Okay. So this is all about the things. This is an easy one. I think you all can solve it. And I am saying you, आप दोनों के दोनों MTP please download it and do solve it now. It's a very high time to solve these MTPs. ठीक है? और come check your preparedness for the exams or make a strategy how to revise the things in this short span of time. I have to see and look for the 115 AC. What's it? 115 AC. Just a minute. Just a minute. Huh? What AC is saying? If company is receiving a dividend income from GDRs, we are saying. Just give me a minute. Being a non-resident, it's mentioned. I will check it because here they are not mentioning specifically the individual or HUF, nothing they are mentioning. I will again check it once because in the act itself they are mentioning where the total income of an assessee being a non-resident is mentioned. Includes income by way of interest on bonds of an Indian company in accordance with this things. Income by way of dividend from on GDRs it's mentioned. And I think it's for company also. Of course, that term they are not using, a foreign company word they are not using. They are specifically writing non-resident, right? So I will check it once. Where you can just raise your query over the portal also. But as per the provision, they are specifically not mentioning any specific individual or HUF. It's mentioning only the non-resident, and company can also be a non-resident. It's not right. Non-resident, it's very necessary. Non-resident owner is necessary for attracting that provision. So I think we can wind up our session. In case of any query, definitely you can ask through your mobile app, ask your query portal. There you can raise your queries. Okay, and that's all for the session. And wish you all all the very best. Take care of your health. Don't take any stress because stress में तो काम होता ही नहीं है कभी भी. So don't take any stress. Just believe in yourself and you can definitely achieve good result. It's only up to you and your presentation, your exam में कितना आप कर रहे हो, how much you are doing and how much you have already studied, that will show in the exams, that you have to present in the exams. That's all for the today's session. Thank you so much for being interactive, and we can now wind up the session. Thank you so much. Yeah, please.
Recording stopped.